The sun seems to always be shining in this beautiful place we call home. Our next guest shares how you can cut the cord and shine some light on your electric bill.
Interesting thing was the manager at Barnes & Noble's, the day of the book signing, actually said, and this was shocking to me, but of course I'm in the solar industry, that there were only 2 other books on Barnes & Noble's shelves about solar.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, when I asked where he was going to, what category would it go in the store, and he says, well, there's a small section of energy, and there are 2 books, and apparently those are books used for like textbooks.
Education.
And he said, education, and this would be the 3rd one. And I said to him, well, this really isn't, it's an education book, but it's more about the history. I've been in the industry now for a decade, a little over a decade, but a decade as Renova Solar. And for me, it's difficult to think with all of the interest that is emerging in the industry that there aren't others who are writing, even if it's just
It is amazing.
technical.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to read it because I'm fascinated with it, but I don't understand it. I mean, so explain why the book then.
So the book, and this is the warning that I gave to the manager, and this is the warning that I give to you. It is a bit. I'm an Italian, last name Battaglia. My name literally translates into victory battle. So
nice.
I'm Vincenzo Battaglia. It is a very, I don't want to say aggressive, but I find that a lot from my father, this Don Quixote syndrome, where I'm constantly lancing, where I see there's something wrong, and I see that
You're the protector.
That's it. The status quo is in this case with energy and entrenched utilities, who have been around for over 100 years, who have a legalized monopoly. They need to go.
Absolutely. I think you're a Don Quixote right now.
And I hate to, but I hate to I mean, Don Quixote, we know what happened to him ultimately.
Well, okay. Well, we can have a different ending.
There we go. And we'll create a new character. It'll be the Vincent Battaglia, the one who actually accomplishes what he set out to do,
exactly.
the vision. And the vision overall is to cut the cord, meaning cut the cord is being used in when it comes to television and cable. I'm talking about the utility cord. There is no longer a need for those electric transmission lines that we see running around.
I love hearing that.
Now, there's no longer. We have a technology that can't even be called, say, transformational or disruptive, because it's real. It's here. It's now. Solar has been around since 1958, and that's in the book. I'll give a background of history.
That's fascinating.
And even prior to 1958, where solar photovoltaic, the electric conversion, was really revolutionized here in the United States by Bell Labs for satellite use. Prior to that, there's an interesting fact in the book. As I was doing research in 2008 and 2009 into the industry, I discovered that I have a relative, Alessandro Battaglia, who in the 1880s was the very first person in the world, and anyone can Google this, and you'll see Google as well as there are papers that come from the University of Genoa, where Alessandro Battaglia was the first person ever to get a patent for a solar machine or a solar product.
That's incredible.
And so
I
to
love
fast forward, and then when I found that out, I thought, okay, there's purpose there. I mean, as strange as that may sound to some.
Did you not know that?
Didn't know
that. Was not passed down through your family?
No, I called my father immediately and I said, do you know anything of an Alessandro Battaglia? Because my father is an immigrant from Italy. And my father is from a region called Castellamare di Stabia, which is south of Naples. I'm sorry, north of Naples, south of Rome. And apparently Alessandro was came from an area north of Rome, so there's no direct connection there. But the Battaglia family is essentially in that western region of Italy.
So they're in your genealogy.
Exactly. And my father said, no, I don't know of anything direct.
So what was your first turning point that made you fascinated with solar?
When... And as in the book, it says in the book. I'm sorry, I keep referring to it. So no, I hate to say that too.
No, it's okay.
But I would. It all does tie together.
Right.
And we'll go to different places. We'll go on a journey right now. When in 1992, I left the United States when I graduated from Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, and I went to Russia. And in Russia, the Soviet Union had fallen apart.
What made you go to Russia?
It probably. A lot of CNN, watching CNN and watching Yeltsin stand up on the tank and declare victory over some state that I had only known about in Rambo movies, and my father, who was in the defense industry, had me very afraid, as most people were, and as most politicians like to play on us. Another one of those misinformations that this Don Quixote wanted to find out for himself. I wanted to find out if that Soviet Union was really something to be afraid of. When it broke apart, I thought, well, something must have been wrong there. And in 1992, great opportunity. I just graduated.
So you went there to visit or
went there to
live?
visit. Yeah, I went for a week.
Okay.
And then that week turned into a year, and then it turned into 5 years, and it turned into 7 years.
Fascinating.
And while I was there, the destructive use of resources, the destruction of the environment, just the blatant rape of the planet, and the oil and all of the gas that was being pulled out and continues to this day. I mean, they would destroy a building and they would take the rubble and just stack it somewhere else and then build another horrible building in its place. And they would never try to repurpose any of the building materials, or when it came to energy, it was a horribly wasteful, centralized hub and spoke delivery of everything from hot water to electricity. And that is the least efficient way for a modern society that has the internet at its disposal to deliver.
Function.
So, yeah, centralized is very inefficient because you're producing in one location and you're losing through inefficiencies and through losses, just general losses from heat and from travel. You lose that energy as it makes its way to the end user. What solar is a clear answer. It's a distributed generation. You create the energy at the site at which you need the energy. It's point and shoot. You point it to the sun.
You explain it quite well.
And because of 10 years of talking.
But obviously there is a game of greed on the planet.
Sure.
And that is what you're observing, and that's what we're living with. And so the change is necessary.
Well,
and you're part of the change.
Thank you.
Eddie Folger of Folger's Soldiers shares stories of his father and how your parents can't save you. You have to take responsibility and save yourself.